This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow. This is episode 8, and I am your host, Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at fantasy_trucker, and I am joined by my co-host, Mike Kulz. You can find him on Twitter at Kulz Sports. How you doing today, Mike?
Good. Feeling a little bit, I guess the Austin, Texas, just feeling my allergies a little bit. So I don't know. When you go to a different location and you got different pollens, different whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
so
no, I feel you.
I may be sneezing every once in a while. I just felt one come, but I'm going to try to power through. I can see it in my eyes.
Nice. I like it. All right, well, good luck with that. Today we are covering, we are on our last leg of the Dynasty Running Back Rankings. We made it, Mike. This is the final running back episode. How do you feel about that?
Good to get through them. I mean, at this point, they get a little bit tiring, but, there's a little bit to say about everyone. There's going to be some fantasy relevance. Not much to add. I mean, I know we got some Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, and Zeke. They're all in this little bucket here, and some news can break at any moment that changes their ranking. But I mean, you're going to have a pretty big disparity, or throughout the year, things can happen, and these guys' rankings can change quite a bit. So it's important to kind of know where they stand.
Yeah, absolutely. It is tough getting through these 50 through 70 range, but they're rosterable, and it's a mix of young guys and veterans that we need to cover, for the people, right?
Yeah. Well, wait. How are you doing? Where are you? Where's the fantasy trucker currently?
The fantasy trucker is in Toledo, Ohio still. My last night in Toledo. Tomorrow I head back to Chicago for the weekend, and then off to somewhere new next week. So
nice.
The fun doesn't stop.
Yeah, let's also, before we dive right in, just let the listeners know that the game of rock, paper, scissors was to see who does the intro.
Yeah, that was nice. I feel like you were a little delayed there, and you were kind of waiting for me to make my landing
paper
before.
No, I predetermined I was going paper there.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take your word for it. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get into it, huh? All right. So, like I said, we're going to be covering 50 through 70 range, a mix of veterans and rookies. So the first guy I want to talk about, I know me and Mike, we're pretty good. We're pretty bullish on him, is Jeff Wilson Jr. For the Miami Dolphins. Are they going to sign Dalvin Cook? Who knows? But if they don't, Jeff Wilson's going to be pretty much involved. He's 27 years old. He's probably the biggest back over there, 6 foot, 213 pounds. Recently signed a 2-year deal worth $6 million. And
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. So that's that's intriguing that he has some security there.
Yeah, he's a McDaniels guy too.
He trusts him.
From San Fran, and brought him over, and then signed him to a deal this year because he likes him. I think he's like 27, so I think he can be a big part of the offense. Dalvin Cook comes in, it changes things for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a lot of these question marks get a lot bigger here towards this end, but I mean, this late in the game, I'm taking a flyer on him. He can be their goal line back. He could be, getting 10 to 15 carries a game at best, but there's value there.
Yeah, last year, before he suffered that hip injury, in his first 3 games, he averaged 5.4 a carry. And in week 5, when he got a decent workload, he 17 for 120 and 1. Week 10 against Cleveland, 17 for 119 and 1. So when they give him the ball, relatively a good amount, he shows up and he gets the job done. So he's definitely worth a roster spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. He's a great running back by committee piece to have.
Yeah, and he's right around that range for I think you and me. You have him up at 48. I have him down at 53, just for the uncertainty of what's going on there. So, but moving on. One other person I want to bring up is Israel Abanaconda. You have him at 53. I got him at 54. He seems to be Brees Hall's backup running back as of right now. Talk about another backfield. Yeah, Abanaconda.
Yeah, Wakanda. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that they like him. I honestly don't know much about him.
Well, let me
he's the backup. Go for it. Yeah,
I'll give you a little background here. He is one of the youngest running backs in the league. He's still 20 years old. He's 5'11", 215 pounds. He turns 21 in October, so he's going to start the season 20 years old, which is pretty out of the ordinary. Last year at Pitt, he was able to get up to 1,400 carries, 20 touchdowns, 6 yards per carry. And he seems, as of right now, to be able to leap ahead of Michael Carter and Zonovan Knight over in New York. So being Brees Hall's backup with that injury history, who knows what happens when he comes back from this injury, but Abanaconda should see some looks this year, and he's a promising young running back. I mean, being at 20 years old, there's value right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, it can change. Dalvin Cook's rumored maybe now to be going there to the Jets over the Dolphins. So, I mean, that's going to be a big signing that changes things. But as of right now, word on the streets, he's going to have a pretty big role year one.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, moving on. Let me pull it up real quick. Someone that you're pretty big on, but I am not. So I'd like for you to talk about this guy, Kenneth Gainwell.
Kenny
Gainwell.
Yeah, I just like him. I think he looks good as a runner. I think he's a great complement to that. He's a great complementary piece in that offense. He's fast. He can catch the ball. I know they don't necessarily throw it too much to the running backs, but he is a pretty shifty, quick piece. I mean, you see him mesh well, especially later in the season. Last year, I think in that divisional game against the Giants, he was something like 12 carries for 100 something yards and a touchdown. Let me look it up. Yeah, he was 12 carries, 112 yards and a touchdown. Broke one for 35. So, I mean, he's just your classic Eagles running back that you can put in there and trust. And he gained that trust last year. So, yeah, I like him.
Yeah. I can understand where you're coming from. He obviously can't compete with DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, but he is behind probably the most fragile running back room in the NFL. So, if one of them goes down, he's definitely going to be seeing a lot more work.
Yeah, I mean, also like he's not as talented as Swift, right? Like he kind of has a similar style too. So that was not ideal for him to have that signing. But if he's not there, I think Gainwell was in for a huge season and a lot of usage. So if he gets banged up, if Penny gets banged up, like there's some pretty serious value for him to step in on the fantasy side of things.
Yeah, I mean, he caught 50 receptions his first year. That was pretty promising, but then dropped down to 29 in year 2. But, both of these running backs ahead of him, Swift and Penny, have 1-year deals. So I think Gainwell still got another 2 years left on his rookie contract. So
last year, 4.53 yards per carry, 7.35 yards per catch. I mean, it's an improvement from 4.28 yards per carry the year before. So he's trending in the right direction. 5 touchdowns. He had 6 total touchdowns his rookie year and 4 last year. I mean, that's just such a crowded offense, but like he's never done anything but what they've asked him to do and delivered. So, I mean, they like him clearly, and he's going to be a part of the offense as long as they can keep him there.
Yeah. You have him right ahead of Abanaconda at 52, and I have him below Abanaconda at 54. So
yeah, I did have him I switched my ranking a little bit before this from put Jalen Warren ahead of both of them.
Okay, why'd you do that?
Just been getting a lot of hype around Warren here as of recent. I thought he stepped in pretty well when Najee was down last year, but you've been hearing a lot of camp hype that he looks really good, and that the Steelers are a team that if they want to sign Najee to a long-term deal, they may rely on a secondary piece in the backfield this year and not necessarily just dump all that work that they have been on Najee. So I think he's an interesting piece there. I like the way he runs. And I don't know, again, something that can change everything is Kareem Hunt has been rumored to the Steelers. So like,
oh, really?
A lot of these, yeah. So
I
a lot of these,
that.
yeah, a lot of these pieces down here, man. It's like, we'll see where Fournette, we'll see where Hunt, and we'll see where Zeke goes. So it's going to change, the landscape of a lot of those running back rooms, because those veteran pieces will step in and have a role. So that diminishes, a Warren, you saw it happen with Gainwell and Swift, Anaconda with Dalvin Cook. So, anyways.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think Jalen Warren's interesting. He's going to be involved in the passing game. He did go undrafted. They signed him. He was kind of an average runner coming out of college. He's likely projected to be a backup his whole career, but he's a good complementary piece to Harris, as he proved last year. So, injury upside there as well. So we'll see what happens. That Steelers team is going to be interesting.
And Oklahoma State. I was just looking at where he went to college because I honestly didn't know, and I typically do know. He's from Clinton, North Carolina, and he went to Snow College, Utah State, and Oklahoma State. So, not a big prospect out of high school, obviously, Snow College, and then upgrades to Utah State, and then ultimately ends up as a Sooner or a Cowboy. Sorry, Oklahoma State people, don't hate me for that. For being on OSU shows career progression. I mean, he's he had a good year for the Steelers, so we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah. I want to transition to the veterans. I kind of want to clump them all together here. Let's start with Zeke. Where do you have him going?
I've never liked Zeke. I just don't. I just don't like him, like, as a person. I think he's done. His NFL career's. When we're talking miles on a car, I think he's just like. I just don't even think he cares enough. Like, he's just one of those guys like Odell that cares more about the outside noise than he does football. So when you don't have that elite level of athleticism and youth like he once had, it goes away quickly. He's not married to the game like Frank Gore, which is why he stayed around forever. Like he's AP. I mean, he's just one of those guys that loves the bright lights and ate it up there for a while. But when have you seen him make a run where you're like, damn, Zeke's back? Like, he had a great year last year for like above, honestly, like outshined what I thought he would do, but
he played in
none of those runs
in the 14 games he played last year. He scored in 10 of them. Like it's pretty good.
That's great.
So, but last year
he didn't look good doing any of it in my mind. It was just
but he was dealing with an MCL sprain last year and a PCL sprain the year before. Like he's trash. No, I get it. I'm not trying to convince you that he's worth stashing, but I think his best landing spot's Dallas if they bring him back, which I don't know why they would. They already cut him in March, so I'm not. He's not worth a roster spot in my opinion.
He's not even worth like putting into a locker room. He's not a guy. He's not a mature guy that like is gonna like teach the young running backs how to be a professional. He's just gonna be. I mean, I don't want to say be that strong, but just kind of a piece of shit. Like,
okay,
he cares only about himself and is not going to help the running back room grow at all. So it's like, what kind of value do you bring at this point in your career? To me, not a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zeke.
I heard he was working out with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys over at Dak's house in the offseason.
Dak.
But that's his best friend, so, he's going to look out for him. All right, what about Fournette, Mr. LSU Tiger?
Leonard's awesome. I mean, he's a guy that, like, he's a hardworking guy. He's a hard runner. I just don't know. He's taken a lot of hits in his career. He was ready. He's a guy to me, like, Len was ready for the NFL at the age of 18.
He
he
looked
was
like
running
it in college.
Yeah, so, like, he was putting miles on a car at a young age, which is too bad because he could have had 3 more years of his prime in the NFL. So, that's one case that I don't necessarily agree with. Go to college for 3 years. It's like that was a man at 18. He could have, he should have been cashing in on his ability at young. Thank God for the NIL now, to where he would have been getting paid, millions in college. But yeah, he's just another guy that I think he can come in and he provides he provides those intangibles that Zeke doesn't, where, like, he could mentor young guys and have some value there. So I definitely think he'll get a team, and I think he'll play a little bit more of a role than Zeke will. Pounding the rock, goal
He's got
line,
a different skill set too. He caught 70 passes in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Like, he's got hands out of the backfield. So that's I think some team's going to sign him. I don't know where he's going to go. Do you have
Patriots would be perfect. I mean, I don't know
kill
that
me
they're
when my
talking about it.
Ramondre.
Yeah, I don't know that they're talking about it, but, like, to me, he's the perfect Patriot. Like, late in his career.
As much as I don't want to see it happen, I can see it happening.
I just want it to happen for him. I'm obviously LSU Tiger, but, like, I think he's a true professional. And, like, I mean, why do you think Brady loved him so much? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's, to me, he would fit so well there. And I'm sure if Belichick called Brady and said, should I sign this guy, he would have nothing but glowing reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it hurt his stock last year when all those reports came out with him overweight and not being in shape during training camp. I think that gives some reserve,
He's always done that. He's just been a guy that's like, I'm going to take it easy when I can take it easy, and then I can get in shape so quickly, which he's always done. Yeah, and, like, I mean, whatever. The Bucs were just really bad last year. There's nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
The last guy I think is the most interesting, in Kareem Hunt. Like, those other guys put on legitimate mileage on their body. Kareem Hunt really not so much. So you would think that there's more in the tank, but last year he didn't prove that there really was. So I would be interested to see, like, obviously we're just talking about what happens on the field, but we don't know, like, what he currently looks like in workouts. I would be interested. Literally just watching him work out one time would have me move him up or down in my rankings. I have him above Fournette and Zeke just because I think he should have a lot left.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, you're not hearing any glowing reports out there, really.
Yeah, no, I kind of have him pretty significantly lower than Zeke and Fournette. I thought he was a lot younger than them too, but he's only a year younger.
Yeah, he's about the same.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm sure he'll find a landing spot, but I don't know. I just don't think he'll be very relevant. To me, he's not really worth a roster spot.
Yeah, for me, it's just going to be, where do these guys end up? Zeke, I just don't really see him as anything but a cowboy. I don't know. I mean, he might just have to take his medicine and go back to that's where he's going to get the biggest role in my mind too. Like, just because of their past, he could probably come in and have a secondary role to Pollard. Yeah, but, like, still a pretty decent role,
Probably the same as last year. Like,
and maybe a little bit less, but pretty similar,
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know what else to say there.
Yeah, that's fine. We can move on. Someone I wanted to mention was Devin Singletary. We talked a little bit about him when we discussed Dameon Pierce. But I think Devin Singletary is definitely worth a roster spot to have in Dynasty. He's 25 years old. He signed a 1-year deal with Houston, and he's going to have a role in that offense, but probably going to be pretty small. Dameon Pierce is a really good running back, and he's going to be the alpha there for quite some time. But Singletary should see some targets and should see enough work to where, during late in the season, during bye weeks, he can, in a pinch, you could probably, I'd be considering starting him as a flex option late on in the season, depending on what happens and how it shakes out.
Yeah, I like Singletary. I mean, he's not gonna. He's just like a lot of these guys in this range. Like he's not. He had a pretty significant role there in Buffalo, and I just don't think he's gonna ever be the star of a backfield, but a very good complementary piece. I'm excited to watch the Texans. They're a team that really went for it and got their guys this year. You're hearing nothing but glowing reviews from Stroud. Again today, I read something that Stroud supposedly looks like Burrow. I'd have to. Yeah, there's a Burrow comparison today. I'll have to go back in and check. But you're hearing glowing reviews from him from anyone that's worked with him. I'm trying to think who said they reminded him as Burrow. But anyways, saying he's coming in extremely mature and prepared and seems to be a true professional. And then of course the skill level is never really been in question. For me, it was always decision making. Watching him at Ohio State, I was like, he can throw the ball. He throws for 300-400 yards a game easily with 5 touchdowns, like it's nothing. But his decision making for me was always in question because you're not going to be able to make mistakes like he made, or just kind of half-ass some throws. And playing at Ohio State in the Big Ten against NFL defenses, so. I just went on a Stroud tangent. What was that about? We're talking running backs, but yeah, it's Texans are a team I'm excited for. Singletary is going to be a big part. I have this this allergy brain right now. So if I get off on another tangent, cut me off.
I'll take it away. Sorry about that. But I think it'd be perfect time to take a quick commercial break.
Randomly went off on Stroud tangent. Sorry. Ryan is going to be quarterbacking the rest of this episode. I'm on allergy brain. My eyes are burning and itchy. So take us away, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. But first I want to talk about the Sports Ethos deal we got going on. This is a very special time at Sports Ethos because we have officially launched our NFL draft guide for the 2023 fantasy season. It already has more than 60 pieces of content in it, including massive team breakdowns and rankings. And we're aiming to have more than 200 features before all is said and done. And right now, you can get the NFL Fantasy Pass for the ridiculous rate of just $4 per month at sportsethos.com. Hurry up and get it. All right. Let's talk about some rookies, huh? How about it?
Rooks, yeah.
Yeah, some rooks. How about the rookie running back over there in New York on the New York Giants named Eric Gray? What do you know about Eric Gray, Mike?
Honestly, I don't know too much. I think he was on Oklahoma. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. He played at Oklahoma.
Yeah, big runner. I don't know. He's going to be stepping into a role that's wide open as the second running back behind Barkley. So I like that. I just think Barkley's in his prime, and he's in a good situation to learn from one of the best running backs in the league. So that's promising. But how much of a role will he have? Probably not too much. But if Barkley needs a breather, he'll be there.
Yeah. Eric Gray is 23 years old. He's 5'10", 210 pounds. Last year at Oklahoma, he had a staggering 6.4 yards per carry and 11 touchdowns. And, in my opinion, if Saquon's contract situation doesn't get figured out and he threatens to sit out 1 week, 2 weeks, however long it is, Eric Gray could see some opportunities there. And depending on if they, there's a situation there that could end up developing if they don't give him a contract and he goes elsewhere next season. Eric Gray could be the next man up. So he could see some opportunities in the short term, or on the other side, he could, for the next 4 years, be a perennial backup for Saquon. So there's a wide range of outcomes for Eric Gray.
Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about that. I have zero. I don't think that there's going to be an issue with Barkley at all. I have zero worry.
Yeah. You're
about
not worried. You're not worried at all.
At all.
No.
So I have him down at 71. You have him at 58.
That would explain my worry and my understanding of that the situation is fragile over there. Like if they,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean it's
New York media is so big and likes to fucking make a big deal about everything.
But it's not just
Barkley
the New York media.
Is a New York Giant. End of story. Period.
He should already have a contract done if that's the case.
It's not a Giants and Barkley thing as much as it is an NFL and running back thing. So Barkley's just standing his ground and being like, all right, I'm different than these guys, pay me. And there's probably a little bit of them that wants to make a mark for the rest of the running backs and just kind of be the guy that shows out for the running backs. So, I mean, I just don't think he's not the guy I worry about when you hear about Jacobs going through the same thing or Dobbins. Like the person I'm worried about the least is Barkley and the Giants. He's a Giant. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that still remains to be seen. So we'll see what happens. I think they're encroaching their deadline. I believe it was July 16th or 15th or something like that. So if a deal's not done before then, we're going to see some development on what's going on. So, but moving on, next rookie I want to talk about is Dwayne McBride over with the Minnesota Vikings.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he's 21 years old, 5'10", 209 pounds. He was a 7th round pick. He played at UAB in his final 2 years at UAB. He racked up quite a bit. He had 437 carries in 2 years for 3,084 yards and 32 touchdowns with an average of 7 yards per carry.
Yeah, he's a stud. Does he not have ACLs or something either?
No, that was someone else.
Ty Spears.
Yes,
but I think was there any injury on McBride, or maybe I'm wrong.
During my research, I didn't see any.
Well, anyway, so yeah, McBride, the reason why I like him is because Dalvin's gone. Madison, I don't think is that good, and they're going to have some serious production out of that backfield like Dalvin had. I mean, there's just a lot to replace there. So yeah, you have Ty Chandler, who's okay in my mind, but McBride's clearly a playmaker, and it's guys that are used to making plays and then they get into an offense with like that much room to run. I just think there's some exciting, there could be some exciting production come out of him. And, to me, the running back room is not like Madison's a stud and it's his backfield. It's his time to shine. Like, going to have the opportunity. I just have been pretty vocal about how I don't think he's going to succeed. So someone like McBride could step in and, take off.
Yeah, I think I've been pretty vocal as well that I'm kind of on the other side of that fence. I do think Madison's going to be pretty good this year. I think he's put in enough work with this team where they're going to, really let him ride. But I'm willing to take the gamble on McBride if, to hedge my bet, so to speak. If Madison struggles at all, McBride, I think, is the next guy up over Ty Chandler.
He's a good handcuff regardless. Like,
yeah, I completely agree.
If you have Madison, there's no reason you shouldn't keep an eye either, even if you're not going to roster. I mean, in Dynasty, you're going to roster him. Like, just
trade for him if you can. If you have Madison,
yeah, for sure, no reason not to.
Yeah. The next guy I want to talk about is Evan Hull, the rookie running back in Indianapolis. 22 years old, 5'10", 209 pounds, 5th round draft pick. He played at Northwestern In the last 2 seasons, he averaged right around 200 carries for 960 yards and 6 touchdowns, pretty average. Caught over 50 passes his senior year. The reason I want to bring him up is because, I think Indianapolis is going to be using him in the passing game sometimes, and you're going to see him on the field, and he could flash some here and there. But if anything happens to Jonathan Taylor, I think he'll be the guy that you want to target. But I mean, in the long run, he's not going to be very valuable. Jonathan Taylor is a monster, and I don't see him going anywhere for quite some time. But I do think Hull will be kind of like that scat back coming out of the backfield.
I got nothing to say about him.
It's all right. We're getting down to the nitty gritty down here, so I'm not expecting too much.
Until I see a Northwestern skill position player like come out and wow me.
The Northwestern slander.
I mean, like
dog.
Bottom end of Big Ten. I don't know. I'm just not like.
Yeah, you've expressed how you feel about the Big Ten conference.
It just doesn't do anything for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all good.
But
how about
someone
this
I'd like?
guy? Go ahead. Do you want to talk
I know
about someone?
I know who you're gonna bring up.
Oh, really? What's his name?
Chris Rodriguez, baby.
Yeah.
C-Rod. So like
C-Rod.
He's a guy that I would watch, I throw on random Kentucky games and be like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And I think he just steps into kind of like a McBride situation where I don't believe in Brian Robinson. Gibson, I think, comes in and has a great year, as we've talked. But why can't Rodriguez get a shot at becoming that number 2 running back? I mean, he's going to be the RB3 there for at least a little bit. But I don't believe in Robinson. So, like, him being a rookie, there is a scenario where he could potentially have a role there. We'll see what happens. I like him.
Yeah. Little background here with Chris Rodriguez, or C-Rod. 22 years old. He is 5'11", 225 pounds. He was a 6th round draft pick. His college career at Kentucky, Mike, listen to this, 600 carries for over 3,600 yards. Overall, a 6.2 average with 33 touchdowns. Just a monster. Yeah.
Beast.
He's likely to be a power runner more than a big play threat. He could see some legit opportunities with the new offensive coordinator coming in. We just don't believe in Brian Robinson together. And, and Antonio Gibson seems to be like the pass catching back. I don't know. To me, towards the end of the season, Chris Rodriguez could easily become the early down back for them. Like, I could easily see that happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say this, like, if you don't know Chris Rodriguez, look up on YouTube right now his highlight tape, and like you'll be like, whoa, this guy's got game. Like, he's just a baller. So he's in a backfield that they're going to be bad. That job hasn't necessarily been won by anyone. I mean, it seems to be Robinson's job right now, but like, he's not going to keep it if he just goes out there and performs at a subpar level
like he did last year.
Yeah, like he did last year. Like he's just not a great running back.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I think that about does it.
No, I want to talk about one more. I got one more guy.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah, I do.
Go ahead, hit me with it. Who do you got?
I like Pierre Strong.
I
really
Strong.
do. I really do. He's number 66 in my rankings. I think Pierre Strong could step into that James White role this year with Ramondre. That being said, I mean, Cook could very well go there, and then my theory of him stepping in a serious role this year goes away. But
yeah,
Bill Belichick's known for sitting his rookie running backs, kind of like redshirting them, teaching them how basically he will just disown them if they fumble the ball. But
making them prove themselves.
He's got all the ability to be in that James White. He's a shifty back that catches the ball and makes big plays. So I do like Pierre Strong. If Cook does not end up a Patriot, I think he has a good complementary role to Ramondre this year.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Ramondre fills that James White role, and he's a very capable pass catcher. Give him all the targets, give him all the carries. You don't need anybody else in that backfield.
Yeah, that's just not the Bill Belichick way. So I don't know. I think he's going to look to spread it out like he always does.
Yeah, I've mentioned before, I think that's just a product of the weapons that he had, over the last decade. I think Ramondre has a whole different skill set that he can kind of do it all. So I can't wait to see him go out there and win me some championships.
Yeah, I don't know. Good luck.
All right. Well, yeah, that about does it for our running back rankings. We had every day this week. And next week, we're going to be doing every day as well. Wide receiver rankings. All of our rankings will be listed on our Twitter and at sportsethos.com. Right, Mike? Sportsethos.com?
Sportsethos.com. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and post our quarterbacks and running backs. We'll get that ready here this weekend. And, we're going to hammer through wide receivers next week. We plan on doing every day again. Probably going to be 5 episodes to round out the wide receivers. And then we'll knock out tight ends in probably 2 episodes, and our dynasty rankings will be wrapped up and kind of just ready to go for redraft season. Start pumping out some redraft content, some divisional breakdowns, things like that.
Yeah, I think that right around that time will bring us right into the start of training camp. So I think it's going to work out perfectly.
Yeah, we should have our first guest coming up here pretty soon. He is a fantasy pros professional, so that's all I'm going to say
teaser.
there.
Little teaser.
Kind of tease it for you guys, but we do have an exciting guest coming up. Kind of tie the bow on our dynasty rankings, and we're really excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, so good things coming. Stay tuned and buckle up.
Buckle up.